Welcome to the newest segment of the Club XP podcast, Meaning in Media. In this segment, it's me, Josh, your host, going down the rabbit hole of all your favorite entertainment, looking for the larger themes and lessons we can take away from books, movies, TV, games, and much, much more. We'll be looking for a deeper way to level up the conversation at the Club XP. We'll uncover the hidden details and truths of the stories we already love so much, so that we can find greater meaning through these symbols in our own lives. In this week's episode, I want to pay homage to one of the most influential science fiction stories I've experienced in my lifetime. And there's no better time to talk about it now than with the recent release of the Halo Reach add-on to the Master Chief Collection. Due to the extensive nature of this topic and the fact that this game franchise has been around since 2001, this will be a recurring segment, especially as fans of the game know more is very likely coming to the Halo universe in the following year. By all means, this is not a comprehensive episode. We have nearly 2 decades worth of content to explore. Today, our focus will be solely on Halo Reach and the legacy that its story leaves us as we remember Reach, and needless to say, from here on out, spoiler alert. For a brief background on the story, we'll travel forward in time to the year 2552. It's an era when space travel is common and faster than light speed technology allows humanity to spread itself out into the stars. During this time of mankind, we began colonizing planets, and we had internal struggles with each other and civil wars from rebels living in the outer colonies. And eventually we found ourselves on the wrong end of an alien military alliance that called themselves the Covenant. The Covenant wandered the cosmos in search of ancient relics and religious icons. This alliance, under the impression that humanity was desecrating their sacred religion and their artifacts, goes on the offensive against the human race. And this all takes us to the planet Reach. It's a human colony 10.5 million light years from Earth. And for the humans at this time, the planet Reach was known as being on Earth's quote-unquote doorstep, and was a vital military stronghold to keep the Covenant away from Earth. The planet Reach, a name given to it for humanity's ability to stretch to the limits and metaphorically reach places we've never gone to before. But sometimes reaching the heavens can be mankind's downfall. And this is where I want to dive into the theme a little bit. The tale of Reach reminds me of the biblical story of the Tower of Babel. In this story, the people were told not to build a tower that they intended to use to reach heaven. Some may find this insignificant, but the moral of that story teaches us that you can't simply just build a heaven or a utopia out of the tools and technology that we possess. Heaven is much more than that. It's something to be created through principles of love and sacrifice. Heaven is more spiritual than physical. But nonetheless, mankind in the Halo universe expanded, and they made it to the stars, and they called this particular planet Reach. They thought that this place would be their utopia, but like those at the Tower of Babel would learn, the people of the planet Reach would soon know this was going to be their demise, and this was going to be their tower as well. The biblical story tells us that God punished the people for trying to get to heaven in a roundabout sort of way, the easiest way without changing their corrupt human nature. And their punishment was to be scattered across the earth and sent to different areas across the globe. And this is how this all ties into the end time symbolism and the destruction of Earth, as we see in Halo Reach. The opening cinema of the game, Halo Reach, starts out with a prominent mountain in the background, showing a wasteland and the remains of a helmet of a Spartan, mankind's elite genetically enhanced super soldier. The mountain and surrounding valley are set ablaze and charred, and they give off this really eerie impression of a terrible battle that recently took place there. The story of Reach is one where humanity loses everything. The entire planet is wasted by the Covenant. And the mountains, smoking and damaged, represent to me Armageddon, which interestingly enough means the mountain of Megiddo. So the biblical story for the end times battle before the end of the world is represented by a mountain. It's the same thing we see here on the planet Reach. At this final battle for humanity, biblically speaking, the Christian scriptures mention fire will be brought down from heaven. And this is very similar to what the Covenant do to the humans on planet Reach. The Halo universe explains that the Covenant glass the entire planet, a phrase used to depict what happens as a result of the scorched earth tactics the aliens use when they fire super hot plasma at the surface of the planet. So there is quite literally fire being brought down from heaven. And we see all of this in the opening scene of the game. We see right off the bat what is about to take place as we play through the story and we get to that final battle of Armageddon on Reach. And with this theme of the apocalypse, the final cinema of the game brings us back to where the game originally started. And that is showing the giant mountain and the valley in the background. But this time there isn't scorched earth or fire raining in from the heavens, but a peaceful green field full of life and a mountain that's not set on fire. This new scene, as compared to the desolate one that the game starts with, shows us what the future has in store for us. It shows us what the biblical book of Revelation calls a new heaven and a new earth. After some time of recovery and after the desolation has passed, Reach will be made whole again, and humanity can continue on. In the Old Testament book of Ezekiel, the ancient prophet talked about a day where the dead would be raised to life again at the end of times. He describes this time of renewing as God causing breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. As we see Reach in this future state, green and full of life again, we are reminded that all trials eventually pass, that the planet Reach becomes a symbol of hope moving on into the future, not just a time of trial and testing. Although Reach at one point was an achievement for mankind, and it was eventually turned into a wasteland, we see that it becomes renewed. The book of Revelation describes our earth in the same way. In quoting, it says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away." This is what Reach becomes. The old Reach has to pass away. But in this last cinematic shot, we do see in the front ground a symbol of that old world, the old Reach, and that is the shattered Spartan helmet. This lets us know that the history should never be forgotten, that for some in the Halo universe, the war continues on. And we must remember as well that, according to Spartan records, Spartans killed in action are never actually listed as KIA. Because of their famed lore that Spartans never die, they're there to boost the morale of those serving around them. But this goes along with that theme that of the resurrection, that Spartans never die. And as a religious text describes, everything will be renewed and brought back to life. And with the theme of resurrection, it is the main thing the Covenant want as well. They want to take what they call the Great Journey, an event that will take them through the ultimate transcendence in the universe, a changing. The Covenant came to Reach to find an ancient religious artifact that they believe would propel them on their great journey, and humanity was not going to get in their way. Earlier we mentioned the consequences of building the Tower of Babel in the Old Testament story. God scattered everyone involved, sent them all across the world, and they had to live lives in very distinct areas across the globe. Something similar happened in the Halo universe as well with the fall of Reach. At the end of the battle for Reach, some survived, but the ships that made it out alive went at random to the far reaches of the galaxy. They were scattered, you could say, and one ship in particular, the Pillar of Autumn, did a random jump through light speed, carrying with it the Master Chief, the so-called savior of the Halo universe, a Spartan, a soldier that would bring life to the rest of the humanity. It's because they were scattered at Reach that mankind found the Halo rings and stopped the Covenant from using these ancient Forerunner constructs as weapons against the galaxy so they could take their final great journey. Although what happened at Reach was horrific, if it wasn't for Reach, our hero, the Master Chief, wouldn't have been scattered and eventually led humanity to victory. Just because the people were punished for building the tower and scattered, something good did come from it. Humanity found life elsewhere in our planet, and they had a second chance. Another opportunity to make it, another chance to rebuild and to make that utopia they were searching for, but this time the right way. Humanity as well would find its heaven through sacrifice, as mentioned earlier, with hundreds of thousands of soldiers and Spartans laying down their lives for the ultimate good of the human race. Master Chief would nearly sacrifice everything as well to defeat the Covenant and stop them from firing the Halo weapons that would destroy all sentient life in the galaxy. And with this I want to close. Sometimes we feel that our greatest achievement, whether it is our planet Reach or our Tower of Babel that we believe will get us to heaven, gets destroyed, and we feel like we get scattered across the globe. But just realize that just as we see in the Old Testament story and on the planet Reach, that sometimes we have to be scattered and removed away from where we are in order to find our true purpose and true meaning in life. And so with this, I ask you, remember Reach, and remember everything that happened there as we go through the hard times in our lives. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening to this newest segment of the Club XP podcast, Meaning and Media. Be sure to comment below and let us know what you think about Halo Reach and the symbols you may have seen as you played through the game. We'd love to hear from you, and if you liked what you heard, give us a like and subscribe for more great content to come.